Hi, Cynthia.
Thank you, Greg. Hi, Thomas.
Hi.
Bienvenue.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much for your film.
You're
It's
welcome.
very surprising and surprisingly complex and surprisingly simple, I would say.
Yeah, I will try to be simple during the QA. But don't hesitate to correct me because I'm a little stressed by speaking English during 25 minutes. So
if
if
you,
you feel it's not understandable, feel free to.
of course, but if you prefer to answer in French, I can translate your answers.
We will try in English and we move into French if you feel it not enough understandable for the audience.
For the audience, okay.
Yeah, okay.
So I wanted to start by asking you, Thomas, if you could please give a little bit of context to the film. So talk a little bit about the political context of the film. So we're talking about a specific event from 2009 in Guinea-Conakry, but maybe we need, to place our audience in the film. It could be interesting to have some context.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I prepare a little. I have some notes.
Sorry?
I have some notes in English to be.
Okay, thank you.
But it's very difficult. It's a very complicated context because now people know more about Guinea. At the time I start the film, nobody know. Even in France, nobody know anything. Every time I was speaking about Guinea, they were telling me Guinea-Bissau.
So,
yeah, of course, you know why. And the film is finished now?
Sorry?
The film is ended?
Which film? Sorry.
The projection.
The film is ended. Yes, we are in the room.
We are in the room.
Yeah.
But they don't hear us.
Yeah. We can. We're in the cinema.
We start right now. Okay.
We're live.
So I have to answer you about the context.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now I was thinking.
Yeah. If you could give some context just about the protests in question, the specific protests that we're talking about, and also I would like to know if how you met this group of people, and if this strategy was, how this strategy came up as a way of dealing with this unresolved question, and as a way of inventing a narrative or inventing some sort of choreography for these events with which they can live.
Okay, I will start by the context, the political context in Guinea. And I will explain how I meet the group of these people first, and after we will precise, because it's a large program.
Yeah.
So I start to travel in Guinea-Conakry. The first travel was 2017. And I was working on this time on the process of the investigation files from the procedure of the 2009 massacre. It was a huge massacre will date from the time of the military junta was running the country. And they had the pressure to organize election. And this preparation have been very long. It's from 2009 to 2010. And the huge massacre of the stadium of the 28th September, which is the name of the stadium because it's a commemoration date from the refusal to to join the Fifth French Republic in 1958.
Mm-hmm.
So the opposition organized a big manifestation in the idea to claims for the future election. And the people you seen in the film, exceptly one, which is victim from the two fact, 2009 and 2010, Tierno, the small one who speak a lot. But these 15 people I work with was most victim of 2010 with sorry, une rafle.
Pardon?
Une rafle.
Rafle.
Une rafle. I will find. I write something. It's a raid of the army to keep people and to beat them, etc. It's what happened in 2010 during 3 days. But it's not the same fact in court than 2009. But in the film, I make the choice to not dissociate
the two
because it's state violence against Fulani people generally, who are fixed as opposition people from the state.
Mm-hmm. And so this procedure, this choreography, this this procedure, which is very strong and very, very surprising, as I was saying in the beginning, very simple, surprisingly simple and surprisingly complex, as is the film, of rehearsing a possible court, an imaginary trial. How did this come along? Was it something that you invented together? Is it something that came with the idea of making a film? So
yeah, the idea of making a film was from the beginning, because at the beginning is an NGO named FIDH who contacted me. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't immediately, because I didn't agree with the process they want at the beginning. So we have a negotiation, and in fact I proposed them to make a co-production and to be more free to. And I meet the people you see in the film later, 1 year after I start to make the film. So at the beginning, it was quite easy, easy for Guinea. So I had authorization to circulate in the city with my camera, to meet people, etc. But I didn't meet the victims of 2010 at the beginning. At the beginning, I meet more the victim of 2009. And all the speech they organize with the NGOs, etc. When I start to work with the people you see, it was a really more intimate relation, and we was really like a small theater group, in fact. Mm-hmm. And we were completely independent of the NGOs and independent to obtain authorization, because they start to refuse to give me authorization to film in Guinea.
Okay.
And it's how I investigate this terrace. At the beginning, I was thinking it was just a withdrawal provisoire, withdrawal.
Provisional
withdrawal, but in fact, I never get authorization again after. So we was camp on the terrace.
So you had to do it in that space.
Yeah, it was.
Which is a great.
It was a great space, in fact.
Yeah, it is.
I realized progressively it was a good problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And how was the writing of the process? So how was the writing of this trial? How was the choice of words and that process? Was it something that you were doing along the shooting? Was it something that you discussed previously with all of them? So how did you build this trial, the wording and the power relations and the representation of authority? How did that come? Because there is a very precise notion of authority and what is fact, what is a witness, what is what should be a witness testimony, what is the form of testimony that should be put in place. How did that come along? Was it something that was there from the beginning, or was it something that you built together?
We built together, but it come fast because they have 10 years of experiences with justice. So at the beginning, it was they had it's more discussion with lawyers, NGOs, etc. for them. But at the time I arrived, there was used by the process. So to meet together, it was kind of regenerating an hope, and at the same time, because it was kind of come a strategy from the Guinean justice to focus on them, to not focus on the 2009 because all these people waiting for the process to go to the court, and even actually for so the victim of 2010 gets some audiences in court, but the victim of 2009 never get one.
And so that audience is the one that's one of them is referring in the beginning, where the defendants never came. That audience that they got in courts in the beginning, he's referring in the beginning of the film that there was an audience where the defendants never arrived. And so it was impossible to proceed. Is that the audience you are talking about?
Yeah, the audience of 2010 happened, but never ended. And the audience of 2009
never started.
Just the files, it's closed. But the Minister of Justice have to quit Guinea because he never happened. Because they changed the constitution. There is a part in the film that talk about that through the when you hear radio, the radio, they speak about the minister who leaves the country and.
Yeah, there is one thing that I find fascinating in your film, which is your obsession with precision, and precision in the beginning, giving the documents, and precision in every gesture. So the preparation when we see the lines being drawn on the wall, and that corresponds to specific heights of people, precision on placing and on mise en scène, and precision on wording and the way they try to correct each other's wording so that they are extremely precise and factual. And I find that very fascinating because it's kind of I saw it a little bit as a very interesting and actually very productive commentary on ideas of truth that sometimes are very far away from ideas of precision and rigor in nonfiction filmmaking. So sometimes what I mean is that sometimes there is a mythologizing of truth and ideas of authenticity that come from the exact opposite process, so a process that is everything less but precise and rigorous. And so in your film, what I found fascinating was that there is such a precision in establishing positions, distance, words, and and even the language, right? The music, the position of the guitar, the editing, everything is quite, it is a procedure. And through that, there is a certain idea of truth that comes across, and that overcomes completely the idea of court and becomes testimony, which is, I think, what you were looking for. And I wanted you to speak a little bit about your notions of precision, your notions of why did you find so important that, you know, we have this sort of carefully placing every element of your film so clearly in front of the spectator, in front of the camera, and establishing the fields for your film and for what was going to happen.
Yeah, it's because it comes from the process, in fact, because I was fond of this group of 15, 30-year-old people, and I have to create a language with them who was over to speak French, because French is the language for them, is the language of the courts. They're all Fulani. When they talk together, they speak Fulani, and they speak French in commercial relation or in court, in administrative. So, you know, French is the whole colonial. So yeah. I have to create another language with them. And so it's a very simple language, but you have to be precise to create the relation. Mm-hmm. And, for example, the chalk line on the wall is the eye of the eyes, so it's horizontal. So it's an accumulation of different horizons to create a kind of geography of their group. And at the same time, this line of horizon is exactly the line of the sea you can see, because this concrete wall blocks the view on the sea. And you know the symbolic of the sea for Africa, actually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So precision is also a way of, or precision, or this kind of not allowing for any sort of ambiguity within the confinement of the film and within the language of the film is also a way of levering power. Would you say, is it a way of assuring some sort of equality? Because the film is, of course, there is always the ghosts of colonial power in the film. Mm-hmm. Not just ghosts, it's literally there sometimes. And so
in France, it's forgetting colonial presence, because in France, nobody know about Guinea from except historian of colonialism, etc. Mm. In the population, nobody know Guinea. As I tell you at the beginning, when you say I go to Guinea, they say Guinea-Bissau. Mm-hmm. But with the migrant problem, we talk again about Guinea, but most of the people in France don't know the history of colonialism, because De Gaulle completely erased this history, because he was a big mess for him, the Sékou Touré history. And I try to put that in the film, but it's more, it's allusive, you know.
Yeah, when they say De Gaulle did this.
Well, it's not the same one.
Yeah.
Every people with long arm is De Gaulle.
Yeah. Which is quite incredible, because it is, I mean, again, you use this name De Gaulle to inform a whole history and a whole collection of a history of power and colonialism, but at the same time it's so precise, right? It's not abstract at all, it's very concrete.
No, and it's still the image we have, a funny image we have of De Gaulle, you know? Big nose, long arm. So it's the theatrical part of the film.
Did you, where did you edit the film? In France?
In France.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you show the film there already in Guinea?
No, I can't show to Guinea.
Why?
Because they're scared to have problem.
Of course.
They're scared to be recognized by some military, and it's. I ended to shoot at the time of where the president was changing the constitution. So actually, the situation is very bad in Guinea. So they're scared to have. They know the film have been shown in Marseille last summer, and they know the film is in Sheffield. But even on Vimeo, it's not accessible from to Guinea. But they saw the film through the Guinean NGO.
Okay.
I have someone who travel with
a pen,
a USB key. There is no copy in Guinea.
I wanted to ask you about the music. And especially that moment, that last commentary with the guitar, that last moment of music with the guitar of that character that is sitting behind, and then he plays the guitar, but your use of music along the film. How did you construct that? Because sometimes it looks that it's making a commentary to the film itself. It looks like some sort of meta commentary to the film, and I wanted to ask you about it.
It's three musical parts, in fact, in the film. The first, it's the introduction of an hymn. How you say an hymn? An
anthem.
Yeah, it's an anthem from Guinean army. It's a historical music in the story, because Guinea have a big story about music, and there was a leader in the 60s of all the Pan-African music. And the guitarist who played his introduction at the beginning of the film is the same than the guitarist you saw at the end. It's Sekou Bembeya Diabate, and who's still in life. So
it's extraordinary.
Extraordinary, yeah. And his nickname was Diamond Finger, because he was very, very fast on so he drove during a long time the Bembeya jazz group, and he have been the first guitarist for Mama Africa. Sorry, Mama Africa. It will come back. I will tell you after. So it's an hymn from army at the beginning, so it's just the introduction. The second music is samba. It's a military group of women.
They are really military.
They are military, yeah.
Ah, so those uniforms are their uniforms.
They're real, yeah.
Oh, wow.
From the 60s, yeah.
Okay.
It's the third group. It exists from 60s, and he have been created by the same guy who created the Black Ballet in Paris.
Okay.
He go back in Guinea to create. He was Ministry of Defense.
Mm-hmm.
Of
Defense. Yeah.
But he had a big part in all cultural organization during the First Republic, and he created this group of women who are all gendarmes, and they're still all gendarmes, and they still exist, and they still to play, and they're incredible. And so Samba, it's a music really anti-colonial, and at the same time the center of the actor who is described in the it's a young guy who look at a woman from another state. Mm-hmm. And the last music is again Sekou Bembeya Diabaté, but just now who played his Hawaiian guitar with which is historically it's a blues. It's a blues. It's very important in the construction of the blues. You know.
Okay.
And actually, just play only that because the finger don't work as at the beginning. You know. But I love it because he gives kind of a Cuban ambiance, it's Caribbean, you know, and Cuba and Guinea was completely connected, you know.
Through the liberation movements, right?
All the Pan-African movement have had office in Conakry during the 50s. Yeah. The Algerian, the FLN, the Black Panthers.
And why was that, Thomas? Why was that? Why was Conakry such a...
Because it's the first country who have been independent. It's 58. They refused the Fifth Republic. Yeah. So it's the first.
And so from there, all the support to the liberation movements in Africa came from there. That's okay.
And I never saw that in my historical book in France, you know.
Me neither. That is never spoken about in our countries, is it?
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's just erased.
There is perhaps 3 lines about Sékou Touré, but never more.
Yeah. And do you think, speaking of that, how was the conversation around your film in France?
So it was at the
Marseille?
in July in Marseille, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But people ask me about precision generally, historical precision, because they realize it's part of their history, but they don't know it. Mm-hmm. And after that, many people have trouble with good trouble because they never sure if it's a reenactment with the real people or with actor. Mm-hmm. They're very surprised by the performance of
the real people.
Yeah, but in fact they are good because they are real.
Of course.
Yeah.
And how many people were you in the crew? Did you take a cinematographer?
At the beginning, I had 15 people. But I really work with 7 at the end because you know, they work at the same time they make the film. So it's Africa. You give appointments, some come, some don't come, some some desperate. Because he was for them, it was two things. To make a film didn't make really sense at the beginning for all of them.
Okay.
So it was at the beginning they take it like a rehearsal of what's going to happen to the court. And we was going to the court all together too, because at the same time we do the rehearsal on the terrace, I was continuing. I didn't stop to ask the authorization to film in the court.
So you wanted to do this really inside the courts, and as you never got authorization, that's what you were saying, that you had to stay.
The end was the day after. We know we never could film the court.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
so you decided to film in the terrace before you knew that you would not be able to.
Yeah, before but when it's a long process to ask to film the court.
Mm-hmm, of course.
In fact, in Guinea, it's something could be possible because historically there is many shooting of process of court procedure, but this court is not the main court, and it's a very dark space located by the ministry. It's not an image Guinea won't vehiculate of its justice. So it was many reasons they refuse.
One last question, Thomas. Again, going back to the choreography in your film, there is this very clear and very interesting way of positioning the bodies within the bodies of people within the frame, and the whole film has that. But there's this last moment when there is the judge, and there are these kind of paper togas, and the testimony is back to the judge.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Why is the testimony not turning face to the judge, but turning his back to the judge? And how did you define those positions in space?
Because I had a fun task to film justice, you know, before to make that film. And we was quite very angry after they refused we can't shoot at the court. And we want really make we want to propose kind of I have to find the name on my notes. Sorry.
No worries.
No, it should be there. I can read that, so it will be simple.
Of course.
The outfit are taken from their own wardrobes, generally, and couple with more fake element that mimic the pomp of circumstances of the court and the ubiquitous military outfit in the Guinean landscape. The bob and the sunglasses are more a sartorial reference of the use of the axes to rap, to Guinean underground. This axis is it's an axis in the city who have been named axis of the death. This axis is an artery that starts from the peninsula in the center of Conakry and then cross all the suburb. It's often associated with the Fulani population, itself identified as a source of unrest, delinquency, violence, and opposition to power. Hamdalaye and its crossword are among them. Bringing them back in the terrace, in the center of the political decision, implies the construction of the we.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
the construction of the we.
Of the way, yeah, you know, it's a part of the film when Bilali, the guy who refused to speak as I, but he say we.
Yeah.
And it's a very important time in the prestation of Bilali.
And is there, just out of curiosity, I think that is a really important question in your film, this idea of construction of the we as something that's over, you know, trespasses the whole film. But is there any precision about the I and E, we, in Fulani language that informs these linguistic corrections that are being done about the we and the I?
I know, it's clear. It's completely... Okay. No, it's really... I didn't... It was an improvisation of Bilali at this moment. And he wasn't writing, and nothing is writing, you know. It's
yeah.
It's just, we discuss about things before, but after it's long take filming. It's around 1 hour half every prestation. We don't stop. We film. Me, at this time, I don't understand what they say.
Okay.
I ask. We talk about what we need before we shoot, and after they tell me what they do. And after I have to translate to really precisely know what they say. And because I film we have 2 cameras, so I film at the same moment.
Yeah. Do you believe there is satisfaction in them after this process of the film? Do you believe for them? I mean, of course, I'm not saying they feel justice has been done, but no. Do you feel there is some sense of satisfaction in the way that they could somehow experiment with expressing and wording, putting into words and some sort of ritual what happened?
Yeah. I think it's it's a very interesting question, because it's kind of it's quite normal to do that in Guinea. If something don't happen, you play it. And so I saw some small theater group from the kids, from the victim of the 2009 doing that, but that didn't working from the real victim. The real victim wasn't happy. The kids was playing the massacre, you know.
Okay.
But I think it's something culturally is usual to do that in Guinea. I will not say in Africa, but in Guinea is it. But especially for the group who play in the film, is not like to make justice, but they know it's they make a film with someone who proposes more than the NGOs. Because it's not the same frame. It's not they believe I will show the film. And the NGOs, they get doubt about all their collaboration. They see what's happened to the 2009. You know, it's an conversation with the power. Me, I'm independent. They understand I was independent. even if I go through the NGOs.
Yeah.
So they was trusting in the fact and they saw me during 3 years coming back. So.
Thank you very much, Thomas. Unfortunately, we have
No,
to.
thank you for the festival.
It's a pleasure. It's a wonderful film. Really
Thank
good.
you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for the public. I didn't see.
Yeah, it's. Thank you.